Hey Money Marvels, welcome back to Finance with Ronke, the channel where we break down personal finance, saving, and smart investing so that everyday Nigerians can build real wealth. I am Ronke, an ex-banker, chartered stockbroker, and investment banker. My passion is simple, helping you take control of your money and make it work for you. Today we'll be looking at the topic, should you invest in FCMB 10 naira public offer, which was recently launched. But this is a disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. The ideas and opinions shared in this video are based on my personal research and analysis. Please do your own due diligence before investing and remember that past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consider your risk profile before making decisions. So over 13.9 million Nigerians already bank with FCMB, and now the bank is giving everyday Nigerians a chance to own a part of the business at just 10 naira per share in its public offer running from October 2nd to November 6, 2025. But before you rush to buy, let's break it down and see if 10 naira is a smart investment or a hype play. So why is FCMB raising 160 billion naira? The Central Bank of Nigeria has set a new minimum capital requirement of 500 billion for international banks. So FCMB needs to raise capital to meet with this threshold and position itself for expansion and compliance. And by the end of this video, you know the type of business FCMB is running, whether it is a loan or is an hybrid investment or it is both. And you also learn how the bank makes its money, how the bank is funded, and if the bank is profitable. So let's dive right into the video. What is the business of the bank? This is the question you need to find out and you need to know before considering doing buying the share. It will help you know the type of risks, especially for banks, the type of risks that they are exposed to. So we're going to be looking at the customer deposit, and which is like which shows us confidence of customer in the bank, how they are growing. So it shows if confidence really love the bank, if customers really love the bank. So we are going to see, is FCMB a loan-driven bank or an investment bank? And you can only get this from the financial statements. So there are some banks that are tilted to cost and to loan, that they are using the loan business model, and there are some banks that are using the investment hybrid. So look at the deposit of FCMB. Deposit from December 2024 grew by 6%. It grew from 4.2 trillion to about 4.5 trillion as at the end of as at the financial as at Q2 2025, and their loans advances also increased, and it increased from the loans that it moved from 2.3 also in 2024 to also is about 2.357 to 2.382. So if we now look at it, and their investment also went up too. So if you look at it, the loan to deposit ratio is about 53%, and while the investment to deposit ratio is about 49%. So when we talk about investment, we are talking about their holdings in treasury bills, in bonds, in commercial papers, mutual funds, special bills, and then promissory notes. So they have about 49% in investment and about 53% of their funds in loan and in loans, in advances to customers. So this shows us that FCMB is an hybrid bank. So it ends from both lending and investment. And hybrid banks are usually more resilient because they don't rely on just one income stream. We have some banks that are just tilted to loans, which carry a lot of risks, and we have some banks, so they are hybrid. So, and this gives diversification, which can also reduce concentration risks, but also means that the bank must manage interest rate swings carefully. So we go to number two. How is the bank making money? Banks have two major income streams whereby they make money. So they make money from interest income, which is the core business, the core reason why a bank is in operation, and the non-interest income. The interest income are like from loans they give out overdraft, term deposit. So they take loans from those ones, and then from T-bills and bonds, maybe they place in investment with the central bank or something, and then also non-interest fee, maybe like SMS alerts, um, account maintenance and all that. So This is how they make money. So we now look at it, their key performance in the last 6 months, that is from January to June 2025. Their interest income went up by 136%. That is from 51 million naira to about 109 million naira within the space of 6 months. And then the non-interest went up by 46%. So from e-business transactions, mobile transactions, and other related transactions, they got about 46% increase. Is surged, and their profit before tax increased by 34%. So interest income is the main driver, which is good for a hybrid slash loan heavy bank. So non-interest income is growing steadily to showing healthy diversification, and a good sign is a good sign for investors. So how are they funded? If you see an heavy reliance on customer, if they have more of customers deposits, it shows that it is a cheap a cheap source of funding. Like if you have banks that have so much in current accounts, savings accounts, it's cheap because on current account they don't pay anything, there is no interest. On savings account they pay they pay little to nothing interest. And we also have banks that do commercial papers, or maybe they borrow from other banks or do almost. So those ones come at a price. So how is it bank funded? Is it being majorly funded by commercial papers? And commercial papers are really expensive. We have commercial papers that are going to like 27%, 26%, compared to funds that is 0%. It may be a fund, maybe the average cost of fund is 3%, and they are lending it out 27% or 29%. But imagine that they getting that fund at 27% and lending it out at 29%. So the spread is just 2%, compared to when you have the funds, maybe cheap funds, and you are getting it at 3%, lending it out at 29%. That's about 26%. So we could see from the financial statements that FCMB growing deposit base shows increasing customer confidence. So their cheap funds are growing more than their debt funding. So we look at the stock performance in the last 5 years. In the last 3 months, the stock grew by 8.42%. In the last 6 months, it grew by 17.11%. And the last 12 months, which is 1 year, it grew by 28.82%. But on the average of 5 years, it grew by over 400%. So we could see clearly that FCMB has delivered long-term returns to his investors. So how are they going to spend the money? The 160 billion naira they're going to get from this public offer. So they are going to stake about 85% of it to businesses in loans, to businesses, farmers, and our own homeowners, like in form of mortgages. And then they're going to use 11% of it to upgrade their technology and digital footprint, which is very good for them. And also they'll use part of it for talent development and of course CSR. So that is the way. So means most of that money is going to revenue generating activities, 85%, and that can boost earnings in the medium term and also in the long term. So why are investors paying attention to this public offer? One, the public offer is cheaper than the current market price. I think the current market price is about 10.9 or 10.8 naira. And then also, FCMB Digital Arm contributes over 100 billion annually, and their dividend yield grew 10% last year, which is very good for dividend holders, and customer base expanded. So they have about 4.2 million naira more in terms of their client base, including diaspora Nigerians. So what is the final verdict? If FCMB delivers on its growth plans, 10 naira could be a solid entry point with this set of upside. But as with all investments, you need to weigh the risks versus the reward. You need to weigh it carefully. So you might want to say, okay, should I buy or should I not buy? Because one, you say, okay, it's an hybrid model. They have an hybrid model with balanced risk exposure, that they have a strong growth in interest income, and they have solid deposit base. They are not relying on expensive funds to run the business. And of course, there is the valuation, there is a fair value of that of the current share price is about 10 naira. But you might want to watch for maybe microeconomic headwinds or interest rates risk exposure, and then executive risk as loan book grows. So that is one thing you need to look at. So conclusion, the price of FCMB is not overpriced, and For long-term investors, it looks like a solid buy, especially if you believe in their digital and expansion strategy. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this video and share with someone who is thinking of investing in Nigerian banks. Please, if you have any money question you want me to address in my next video, kindly drop it in the comment section. Remember, this is Finance with Ronke, where your money learns to work for you. Until next time, stay smart, stay consistent, and keep building wealth. Thank you.